Welcome to our podcast. Tonight, we're diving into a wild, quirky investigation at Brooklyn College. Buildings literally have a lot to say, and it all starts with that, stain that just wouldn't wash out.
Indeed. Right. And you know what really grabbed my attention? The way the episode opens with the atmosphere, a whispering building, a chemistry lab at 2:13 a.m., and that ominous red stain. It's like a movie noir meets campus mystery.
Exactly. The introduction is so cinematic, with SFX like mop squeaks and footsteps. It reminds us that even in a college lab, something as mundane as a spill can trigger a chain
Yeah.
reaction of investigation.
And the dual narration really adds flavor. One narrator is all calm and serious, while the other is witty and energetic. It's like the perfect blend of observation and snark. How do you feel about that dynamic?
I love it. It gives us two perspectives on the mystery. On one side, you have the calm, methodical documentation. Observation first, documentation second. And on the other, the playful irreverence that insists, control your panic with a side of mop. It's like it's like a balance between logic and humor, and that's so refreshing.
Absolutely. I was particularly amused by the reference to controlled panic. It perfectly sums up the ethos of these custodial detectives. But, isn't it a bit odd that on one hand, they insist on following evidence meticulously, and on the other, they make snarky quips about Dean and even the mop bucket?
That's a good point. I think it's intentional, though. The story is well layered. It teases us by blending serious investigation with moments of humor. For instance, when they mention that the ceiling could be sending a message, something like, don't touch my mop again,
Yeah.
it's both playful and eerie.
And speaking of clues, the details in Act 1 are real standouts, aren't they? The red dripping stain, the suggestion of deliberate movement, and those mini footprints. It almost feels like the lab assistant or some tiny mastermind left a calling card.
For sure. The description of the stain is so vivid. It's not just a spill, it's a message in red. And then there's the moment the UV light clicks on, revealing that the substance is definitely human, fresh, hours old. All these details build a strong case that something wasn't accidental.
That discovery moment really sets the stage because suddenly these custodial detectives become crime scene investigators. It's like they're armed not only with mops and notebooks, but also with a keen sense of intuition. And then they, find the stakes have been raised when three bats also make an appearance. Who knew bats could be part of the mystery?
Yeah, the bats. Poor creatures caught in the chaos. It gives you that eerie atmosphere of danger mingled with unexpected comedy. It's as if everything on campus is in on this mystery,
True that.
from the chemicals to the stray animals.
Then we move into Act 2, and things really deepen. The narrative shifts to checking lab logs, examining security footage, and even interviewing students. What did you think about the investigative approach they took?
It's intriguing. The investigation is methodical. They're following literal evidence, footprints, timestamps, schedules. Yet it's also laden with a kind of creative license. When they mention a note in red ink saying, don't trust the mop, it's
Absolutely, yeah.
both cryptic and darkly humorous.
I appreciated that moment. It's like, while some might say that note is just a bizarre addition, I think it's a clever twist. It makes you wonder, is it a warning or a misdirection? And the possibility of a hooded figure passing by, it completely flips the narrative to something almost cinematic.
Definitely. And you know what I like? The way they mix roles. One moment they're custodians, the next they're like amateur sleuths piecing together clues. It challenges our expectations of what a mop and order situation should be. But hey, not everyone might agree with that mix, right?
True, I can see how someone might argue that the tone becomes too whimsical for a supposed real investigation. But to me, that contrast really elevates the stakes. It's a refreshing interpretation of a campus mystery, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I agree. It's like they flirt with danger while keeping their wit intact. And then when the dean enters the scene with a quirky dialogue, like human stain, recent, definitely not a chemistry experiment. It drives home how absurd yet serious the situation is.
Exactly. Right. The Dean's cameo is fantastic. It's a perfect moment where the serious oversight meets the humor of custodians. And his comment about having to handle it delicately contrasts in a funny way with the team's real world attitude of we investigate, then we might interrogate.
Exactly, it's that tension between duty and irreverence. They respect protocol, check logs, gather evidence, ahem, even with Dean's orders to be quiet. And yet their natural energy, like when they say mop with extra grip, adds this human element.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Moving into Act 3, the confrontation and resolution, the narrative takes on even more suspense. The idea that maybe the stain was a deliberate setup, either a warning or some misguided experiment, keeps you guessing. It's all about following the trail, even if that trail leads you into detention or danger.
Right, the story here is almost like it's like a riddle wrapped in a mystery, with clues that tease and challenge both the characters and us, the audience. And the internal debate between whether to trust gut instincts or documented evidence really shines through.
Indeed. And I mean, who wouldn't get a kick out of the humorous banter? Danger is exciting and potentially hilarious. That line really sums up their approach to life at Bricklin College. There's an undercurrent of survival wrapped in a layer of absurd comedy.
True, and the dynamic is so rich. Serious investigation, unexpected humor, and just enough tension to keep you on your toes. The narrative makes you wonder, are we witnessing a genuine crime, or is it all, an elaborate campus tradition gone rogue?
Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting observation. It almost challenges the notion of what's expected in college mysteries, a mixture of real threats and tongue in cheek commentary. But do you think that, dilutes the seriousness of potential hazards?
That's a fair challenge. I see what you're saying. On one hand, the humor might undercut the real risk, like when they mention hazard pay and strongly worded documentation. And on the other, it makes the narrative more accessible. The balance is delicate. It invites us to both laugh and think.
Absolutely. And then there's the technical side. The use of SFX, like mop squeaks, footsteps, and even a low jazz theme for the intro and outro. That really grounds the episode, making the setting tangible. It's like you're right there in the lab, experiencing each clue.
Yes, those sound effects aren't just fluff, they add texture to the narrative. The mop squeak isn't just background noise, it's a cue that instantly transports you to that late night lab investigation. It's, like
Yeah, I
sensory
totally agree.
storytelling.
And the final twist is so satisfying. They wrap up the confrontation with the sort of resigned yet determined conclusion. We'll follow it. Wherever it leads, it leaves the door open for future mysteries, almost hinting at more chaos to come at Bricklin.
Exactly. It's a clever narrative loop that keeps the audience hooked. Every mystery leaves behind more questions than answers, and that continual pursuit, armed with mops, sarcasm, and a bit of controlled panic, is what makes it endlessly engaging.
Right on. I love how they blend the mundane and the mysterious. A common reoccurring theme here is that every little detail, even a simple mop or a red stain, can be a gateway to uncovering, well, hidden stories. It really challenges your perspective on what's normal in a college setting.
Absolutely. And it's not just about uncovering a mystery, it's about documenting it, theorizing it, and poking fun at the institutional responses along the way. There's that memorable back and forth about custodians not being FBI agents, yet sometimes blurring the lines between mop and magnifying glass.
That was spot on. And you know what? That self awareness makes the entire piece so much more compelling. It almost satirizes the genre while also staying completely within its own rules. There's an element of meta commentary in there. Like, we are custodians, but we're also detectives, and yes, it's a bit ridiculous.
Exactly. It's a celebration of the absurdity inherent in any investigation, Even as the custodians follow the red stain, they offer commentary that's as insightful as it is humorous. And that mix really captures the essence of campus life, where even the smallest spill can turn into a grand adventure.
Yep, so true. And the storytelling with its structured acts, from discovery to confrontation, parallels classic mystery formats. Yet it always feels uniquely its own because it embraces its quirks, like using a mop in a way that's both a cleaning tool and a symbol of relentless investigation.
It's brilliant when you think about it. The entire piece is structured to engage on multiple levels: sensory with the SFX, narrative with layered characters, and thematic with its blend of humor and danger.
Absolutely. I do have one little critique, though. At certain moments, the balance between humor and seriousness could have tipped a bit too far into satire, potentially undermining the gravity of the mystery. But then again, that might be exactly what the creators intended, to blur the lines and keep us guessing.
That's a fair point. It does tread that fine line between earnest investigation and tongue in cheek commentary. However, I think that's part of its charm. It's audacious in challenging what audiences expect from a traditional mystery. It turns every clue into both a piece of evidence and a
I see that.
punchline.
In the end, it feels like a celebration of curiosity and, the courage to look closely at the mundane. And who wouldn't want to follow a trail that involves witty custodians, cryptic red stains, and a dean who's just as perplexed as we are?
Exactly right. The narrative leaves you with that lingering question: what's next? The mystery isn't fully resolved, and that promise of more adventures, more unexpected twists, well, it's just too irresistible.
Yeah, absolutely irresistible. So here's to Brooklyn College, where even a simple stain can become a full-blown, campus-wide escapade. And here's to the art of investigation, mops, clues, and a whole lot of wit. Thanks for joining in this discussion. It's been thrilling and a little, refreshingly absurd.
Thanks for the great conversation. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled and your mops ready.
Yeah, exactly.